Good evening, everybody.
Evening, Darius.
How are we doing
Good
today?
evening.
Can you see me?
Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
Very well, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you, yeah. We're just waiting on Mr. Raven coming along, I think.
Good.
What's
You're
the
looking fantastic, Darius.
Say again, Fiona.
You're looking
Hi,
fantastic.
Maxie baby. In your bed, hun?
Say again.
I said you're looking fantastic in your pictures.
Oh, right, yeah, thank you very much, yeah. It's very exciting times, isn't it? There's a little way to go yet, but progress nonetheless.
Definitely. Did you see mine? I couldn't believe it when I put my pictures together.
Yeah, I certainly have, yeah. Been keeping a close eye on your profile and on your group as well. It's really good work.
Yeah.
You've not seen mine, Daddy, so my God.
I saw the one with your red trousers.
Oh, you've not seen the one with my bare belly hanging out about it?
Oh, that.
Ooh, it's not a pretty sight.
I'm sure it is.
Hi, Raven.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
Here he is.
It's off one Zoom call to another Zoom call. I don't know my backside from my elbow.
I think I'm going to start coming 10 minutes late like I used to do, because that's when everyone's here then.
So it's all fun and games, eh?
Sure is.
It sure is.
Hey, Jackie, you're looking fabulous, man. I love them pictures.
I'm getting there. I was just telling Darius, you've not seen the ones of me half naked. It was not a pretty sight, I tell you.
Oh, come on then. Share.
Oh, I can't share. Can't bring myself to share.
Good evening, Michael. How are you? Michael Grant there, sitting in silence.
I've already tried that, Raven.
Oh, you have to put your microphone on, Michael, bottom left-hand corner.
I think his mic's on, but I think his volume might be down, maybe.
Ah, right, okay. Hi, Wendy. Loved your pictures as well. Having amazing experiences all round.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's all good. Going well.
Good. And as for you, Jenny, I wouldn't recognise you. Bloody hell, what a change. What a change.
Hey, Raven. What changing you? Never mind anybody else.
With Jenny, were you talking Jenny H or Jenny M?
Oh, white Jenny. I've got the white Jenny and the black Jenny now, and I've been given permission. That's okay. Wow.
Right, should we get underway, Raven? Do you want to take us away?
Aye, why not? Why not? Where are we at? So good evening, Mags. Hope you're well, darling. Hello, Neil Ringham. Hello, Caroline Petch. Hello, everybody. Fiona, I'm absolutely staggered with what's happened and where you're getting. Just stay with the program, eh? You're going to look absolutely amazing. So, what are you about tonight? What are we here for? Well, the whole purpose of this is really to overview what we're doing as an organisation and why we're here. And I think there are many aspects to this, and I know that some customers may join us, people who are just interested in taking part in these products as opposed to looking at this from a business. So we're going to cover the whole aspect of it tonight for people to get a better view of what it's all about. But I want to start with a little bit of background on myself, and some of you have heard it before, so you know, but just bear with us for those that haven't heard. I've been in the health and wellness industry for 30 years now, and for 15 of those years, I was responsible for managing and running, we ended up on 17 cancer treatment centres. And these were cancer treatment centres that worked on the 5 key principles of life, which is food, water, exercise, and mental attitude. And those are the key issues that we are addressing, or were addressing at that time, and very successfully. I actually ended up retiring out to Spain thinking utopia, sit by the pool, glass of wine, sitting in the sun, watch my little boy grow up. And a year later, 18 months later, ended up very fat, very bored, and not knowing what to do with life. So I think that's the never retire. I think that's the answer, that's for sure. So when I got the call to go and have a look at this company, I was fascinated because first and foremost, I didn't want to get involved. Secondly, I wanted to go out to Phoenix and tell them why I wouldn't get involved by ripping apart their products and tell them it was all a load of rubbish, etc. There were some key aspects as to why I went there, and that is that I'd known Jim Coover since 1984, the man that owns this company, and knew of his integrity and the quality of his integrity and what he's done over the years, because Jim has been behind some of the most successful companies ever in the industry. What fascinated me also was that here was something that was going to address the major issues that we'd been working on around cancer for many years, i.e. the food. So when I got out there, I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with 50 in-house scientists that they've got in this company. And their scientists cover the whole spectrum, you know, from nutrition to macrobiology, microbiology, medicine. And these are really, really top of the tree scientists that this company employs. Now, in 30 years, I've never seen any company outside of a pharmaceutical company that's got its own in-house team of 50 scientists. So that was an amazing thing for me to actually come across. And I got a lot of time to be able to sit with them and go through these products. And one of the things that really I've been shouting about, banging the drum on for the last 30 years is about what's going on in the world today. And really what's happened in this world is that farming, agricultural policies have changed dramatically in the last 50 years. And that's brought about some major, major problems that we're facing today. We only have to look at the increase in disease across this pandemic now. And if I just relate the story to you like this, you know, when I was a child, my father in the very early 50s used to take me to the family allotments where we grew the food that we would eat as a family post-war years. And in those days, the food was nutritionally really powerful. It had really strong, powerful flavors to it. In fact, just a few minutes ago, I was talking to a chef, and one of the things he related to me is even in his much younger years, but in the years of being a chef, he's actually seen that to make food taste these days is increasingly difficult because it's tasteless. It doesn't have the flavors that food should actually have. And that brings me back to my point about what's going on in this world. You see, in the last 30, 40 years, lots of these large stores have grown up all over the country and across the world, where we now shop to buy our foods. And what's actually happened is that when you go into these stores and you look at the food that's being grown, that's on the shelf, so it's available to us, you see that everything's the same shape, same size, same color, same weight. And this essentially is food that's being grown in artificial environments or forced environments. That's food to order as opposed to food of value and quality to us. And what a lot of people may fail to understand is that when any food is being grown in its natural environment, it has to go through a number of different processes. And the ripening process is the most important part, because as a food gets to its ripening period, the sunlight synthesis and the water intake and the mineral uptake from the earth is absolutely vital to the value of it, because it changes the chemical composition of it to give our physical bodies what we need to cell replicate, to build healthy, strong bodies. And what we're seeing is that food these days is all grown artificially. And an illustration of that is a friend of mine that works for one of the biggest banana importers in this country. And he tells me that, you know, what happens is that large ships of bananas come into the country and they're delivered to different warehouses all over the place. Then when one of the big stores asks for its shipment for that week, off they go to the store, they bring out racks and racks of these dark, dark green bananas, and they put them into a big steel-lined room with vaulted doors. And they lock the doors down and then fill the room with a neon gas for 45 to 60 minutes. And when they open them, the bananas have gone from dark green to bright yellow. So it looks like you're getting ripe, good quality food, but in actual fact, it's synthetic. It hasn't gone through its natural process, and therefore it doesn't contain the nutrients that we need. So when I look back over the last 30 years, and I see the increases in health changing dramatically, I see ADHD increasing with children. I mean, 30 years ago, we never had anything called chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia, but look at how prevalent it is today. We're seeing 1 in 2 people with cancer today. 68% of the British population is either diabetic or pre-diabetic. So we're seeing massive, massive changes going on because of the food that we're actually eating in society. And then a lot of people say, well, they understand this principle, so they'll go to the organic side of food. Not only is it more expensive and less available to people, but the problems that's happening with organic food today is that, and I can't say all of it, but 90% of the organic food that I've seen and seen tested is grown in such a way that it has a 20% plus level of too much heavy metals in the food that then also begin to make it toxic. And we only have to look at the independent studies that are out there that are showing that, you know, heavy metals within food now directly connected to Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, you name it, across the board. So food is a major, major issue. And if you think about it, life is pretty simple. If we give our body the nutrients that it needs in order to sustain it, then it will do what it's supposed to do. So now we're moving on further from that. We're looking at the food is a major issue that we are stuck. We don't know what to do. And understanding that our body needs somewhere in the region of 300 elements per day in order to sustain natural life. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? How are we going to get the foods that we actually need to feed our bodies to make them well? So looking at statistics today, you know, Mexico now is the #1 obese nation on the planet, followed swiftly by America, #2, no surprises there. But what is shocking to a lot of people, that Britain is #3 in the world. The UK is the #3 obese nation in the world, and that's a shocking statistic. So most of us on this call are here because we have a desire to do something about our own physical lives and our families' lives and change them. So for me, going out to Phoenix and then sitting and talking to these scientists and actually then being able to rip apart their ingredients of these products, and let's be clear about this, I'm not making any medical claims, I'm not diagnosing anything here, I'm just talking about food. But we know the ramifications of food that has no value in the human system. So what do? So I go and sit with this company and I look at the ingredients of their products, I look at where they're grown, I look at the mineral earth content. You know, in the Western world, legally, farmers only have to put on 3 minerals on the earth, NPK. And those 3 minerals are law. The fact that the body needs 72 to 74 trace element minerals per day doesn't even come into the equation. And if you think about this, your physical body is made up as the same substance as the planet and the stars. You know, we're made up of minerals. So when this physical flesh has disappeared, all that's left, those ashes that you may understand what I'm talking about, they're just the mineral content of the human body. And that's what makes everything happen in our system. But they have to be coupled with vitamins A, B, C, D, B1, B3, B6, B12. All of these things need to be in the food. But where would we go to get those if we didn't know? So when I looked at this company, I looked at the 4 areas of products, and this put me off straight away. I've got to be honest with you. They introduced 4 key areas of product ranges that they actually have. One is weight management. And I say weight management as opposed to weight loss because, you know, not everybody needs to lose weight. Many people, especially as we get older, need to put on lean muscle mass. And there is a specific way that the human body can do that. So when you look at older people who are struggling to maintain body weight or lean muscle mass, that's a really key function, a really key important part. When we look at children and they're growing and their ability to bone grow, for their eyesight, it's the developing children of the world. It's all based down to to those nutrients that are in the food that we're actually getting. So again, when I come to look at this company and I look at the 4 element areas, one being weight management, the second one being healthy aging. Well, certainly people at my end of the spectrum are looking more towards how can we slow down our aging process as much as possible. And this company has developed an amazing product that lengthens the telomeres on the DNA, which is something we don't have here yet, so I won't get too far into it. And then we have sports nutrition, and then we have high energy nutrition. And I looked at that, first of all, and I thought, well, that's all very aesthetic, isn't it? That's all about the way we look, you know, our weight, our age, our athleticism and our energy levels. And so that really didn't interest me. But it was only when I sat and dug into these ingredients in these products that I really got a wake-up call. I really began to realize that here was an ability for me to introduce people to absolutely high-quality superfoods that have such ramifications on the human system. And it was only by that I started to get really excited and interested about it. Because if I go back to what we were doing back in the cancer centres 15 years ago, we were recommending people on high energy, high level nutrient food. But it's changed again. Even in the last 20 years, it's changed dramatically now that most people wouldn't know what they're eating or what they're getting at any time of day. So for me, working with this company and actually seeing that everything that they produce is certificated in terms of the quality of the earth that it's grown in, the sunlight levels it's exposed to, the ripening and harvesting process, the amount of water that it gets. So we have high quality super nutrients in food, and that's all this is, produced into our weight management program. But the company is very clear about a number of different things. And one of the things that we understand is that we live in such toxic environments today, not just because of the food, but also because of the air and the water, that it's very, very important that our bodies have the ability to cleanse themselves. And some of you may or may not have heard of a man called Dr. Joseph McCullough. Joseph is probably the world's leading authority now on the internet. Just go and tap in his website, McCullough, and you'll find that this is a man that's dedicated his life to the ability to help people heal cancer themselves. And I'm only highlighting this as an external thing, nothing to do with this company. But look at what he talks about. He talks about what's so important is the fact of intermittent fasting. Because since the Industrial Revolution has come about and we've started to eat 3 meals a day, we never used to do that prior. So our bodies are being bombarded with food all of the time. And I see lots and lots of people putting on weight or getting ladies with polycystic ovaries, ladies with thyroid problems, ladies with all sorts of issues, because they're not getting the nutrients to make their bodies work properly. And Joseph says, our bodies are under so much stress because we're putting food into our systems. And I must admit, a lot of ladies that I've seen and spoken to over the years, they eat very little. But what they're eating is not feeding their bodies. And the body's constantly calling out for food. It's not because they're overeating. It's because the body's absolutely looking for the nutrients in the raw material that it's just not getting. And so we end up with all of the problems. But that's underpinned by something that's really important called inflammation. And the way that we've dealt with inflammation, it's only just becoming vogue knowledge now, that inflammation is one of the things that we suffer with terribly, and it underpins a great deal of disease right across the planet. And so we have a system which is just a very simple herbal blend to help cleanse the body. And it's not one of those things, that it turns your bum into a raging night after a curry. It's one of those things that cleans the liver, the kidneys, the blood, and gets the body ready and prepared to be able to put superfoods, super high quality nutrients into it. So Isagenix has then produced this cleanse process, coupled with intermittent fasting, which is vitally important, then followed by a process of introducing shakes to the system. And I say shakes, there are many, many shakes out there. Lots and lots of companies produce shakes. And since I got involved with this company now just about 9 months ago, I started to investigate a lot of the shakes that are out there and start to see that in the most, they're not balanced at all. We must have carbs and protein in the right balance in order to replicate cell production and muscle growth. We must have everything in the right order, and we must have all of the nutrients, all of the vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids all in one place. Now, if we don't know where to get them from our food, what are we going to do as a nation of people? So here is a company that's produced this superfood that allows us to get the nutrients our body needs and let our body do what it should do. So the acid test for me was actually then, not only taking these, the cleanse system and then putting the superfoods into my body, but I live a stressful life, as do most people on the planet these days. And stress is a really important thing for us to overview and consider, because stress increases our level of cortisol very highly. And if we're unable to bring those cortisol levels down to an equal balance, then our body doesn't function properly. So again, we have another product called Isagenix Supreme, which is a combination of around about 40 different herbs. Herbs that have got independent information, well publicized out there in the universe, for us to go and actually research ourselves, but it has such a fantastic ability of being able to help reduce stress in the human body or bring our cortisol levels down so that we're able to function properly and our bodies to run really, really well. So we cleanse the body, we then feed it with high quality nutrients, we manage and maintain our stress levels with that. Then it's also important, a couple of other things that are within the systems, and we have a number of different systems. The weight management system is what I'm referring to right now, where we're able to increase the metabolism naturally to help our bodies to burn that visceral fat, to remove that visceral fat. And if you look on isagenixhealth.net, which is the company's scientific publication website, you'll be able to see and verify all the things that I'm talking to you about here, that they're all there for you to get the right information that you need to make an informed decision for you and your family. So weight loss or weight management is a very emotive subject that's been, everyone's dream for years and years and years. And yet I see people going through up and down, round and round through these dietary processes where they're just unable to maintain it. They're unable to maintain it because as soon as they've stopped doing something, they're straight back into the same problem. Where they're eating food that's never going to sustain their bodies. Now, unless the universe or the governments or the agricultural policies change in this world, what are we going to do? Well, the only thing we can do is to look at things and get educated and get informed about what's available and what's there for us to help us to change our physical lives. And that's what Isagenix has done, is brought about these wonderful, wonderful food products that just allow our bodies to absorb the nutrients into the bloodstream, into the body, and get immense reactions from it. Now, a lot of the people on this call are having some amazing results with it. In fact, I've never seen a person that's taken these have anything less than immense reaction within a very short space of time. Just from my own experience, after being out there for some time, experiencing this company, experiencing what it's doing in terms of products, I decided to acid test them myself. And being overweight at the time, it was the best thing for me to do. So within the first 3 days of doing my cleanse and my intermittent fasting, I found myself, my body released around about 16 pounds to a stone in weight within the first 3 days. And I carried on then following the system for the next 8 to 10, 12 weeks or so. And over that period of time, my body released another up to 54 pounds in weight. And I just stopped weighing myself after that, gave up. What was most significant for me was that my energy went through the roof. I was able to do things that I'd resign myself to the aging process and thinking, well, this is part of my age. There's nothing I can do about this, and just accept it. And I'm able to now do the things that I couldn't do. I can play football with my son every Sunday morning. In fact, I was playing with him this afternoon, but I couldn't do those things. My weight had dropped off. My energy levels have gone through the roof. My skin, my eyesight, everything has improved dramatically because I've just started to put high quality food into my body. Now, it doesn't take the brains of an archbishop to understand this, that if we give our bodies what they need, then our bodies will react positively. What the problem is that we don't know what to give ourselves, what we need, because we think it's in our food and it's not. Now, what do we do after that? We go organic. Then we find out there's too many heavy metals in it. We're not being told the truth by what really we need to have. So for me, I was absolutely delighted to then have the opportunity to bring those products over to this country and to introduce them to friends. And one of the great things is that I don't like selling anything to anybody. I hate it. But the great thing for me was after my body started to release this weight and my body started to respond to good food. I didn't have to, because every single person around me just looks at me and says, whatever you're doing, I want it. I want what you've got. And that changed things for me, because in 30 years, it's the first time anyone's ever come up to me and said, whatever you're doing, I want some of that, because that's amazing. So that is a very sort of encapsulated overview, because we only have at this moment in time 11 of the 71 products that this company actually has in its portfolio. But the 11 products that we have cover the ranges of weight management. They cover the weight maintenance program that comes after that. We also then have an athlete's pack that covers the type of formula and profile that someone who's heavily into sport or just into sport alone and wants to maintain their physicality, then we have the product range to cover it. And we will be introducing more new products as we go. And in fact, we have the official opening of this company in just under 2 weeks' time now. And I'm very excited to tell you that we'll be launching 2 new products of that, which I'm really excited about, but I'm not going to tell you what, because I value my health too well to tell you too quickly. So that'll be coming up, the launch coming up very soon. So in final part of this, my passion behind everything I'm doing here is that I really want people to be able to get sufficient information to be able to make an informed decision about what's available to you. We don't have to become subjected to the problems we're facing, and nor do our families and the people we care about, when we know there's a solution to it. So in that case, you know, if your interest is just about these products, then please talk to the person that brought you along tonight. And we're more than happy to do one-on-one communications with you about your health goals, about what it is you're looking to achieve. And I must say, I am seeing dramatic changes in people's lives that you wouldn't credit, purely because we're putting high-quality food into the body, we're cleaning our systems, we're able to function properly, and all of a sudden life takes on a different guise. We've become so used to being sick as a nation of people, as a world of people, because this has been a gradual process as we've got declined over the years, as diseases increase because of the quality of the food we're putting in our body. And we have an opportunity to change many people's lives on that level. So I hope this has been of value to you in this short encapsulated formula. Let me hand you over to Darius now to tell you a little bit more about what's behind this from a business perspective. And just my little point on the business side of things, I understand, you know, that poverty worldwide is a major, major problem. It's causing huge issues in society. There are people living on the breadline that want to be able to change their lives. There are people that want to be able to change the lives of their future. And I have a little son, and I want him to grow up in a world where he has independence, where he has freedom, where he's able to give back to society, where he's able to actually look after his body and feed his body because he knows what to get and where to get it from. So I'm sure I've missed a great deal here, but having overviewed and looked at so many other things that are out there, and speaking to a lot of the professionals I do, I can't and won't put my name to something that I can't stand by and certificate and validate, and nor with the medical practitioners that I'm connected with. And so we're all very excited and very happy to be a part of something that is doing the right thing for people, giving them the right information to let them make an informed decision. So just before I move on to the next, or we move on to the next bit, let me introduce you to Darius Ward. Darius and I have only known each other for about 6 months. I think we've probably propped up more bars than most people in the last 6 years of their life, but it's been a fun journey. Now I'm having to pay the penalty of running around the country doing that and actually get some of that weight back off. But Darius is a great leader, you know, he's a great teacher, he's a great mentor, and someone who's totally focused on people and helping people to achieve their best goals. And I'm really delighted that people like Darius and many others on this call, you know, Jackie Egan, Fiona Craig, Mags Matthews, and so many others, so all of you people, I'm delighted about becoming part of a movement that's actually going to change and transform countless thousands of people's lives, not only in this country, but right across Europe. Darius, over to you.
Well, thank you very much. What an accolade indeed. Very kind of you, sir. Very kind indeed. I've got no idea what he's talking about with bars. I've not been in one for years. If you believe that, and you believe anything, but you can believe what I'm about to tell you. So for those of you that perhaps haven't met me before, as Raven has just very nicely described, I'm a network marketing leader, which obviously means that I've been working within the network marketing industry for some time, about 5 years. So certainly not as long as many, but longer than some. And in that time, me and my collective teams have experienced some great success in a number of opportunities, most recently here with Isagenix. So I actually left behind a multi-million pound turnover business, which generated a 6-figure income, and it wasn't something that I did very lightly at all. Now, I have to confess that up until joining with Isagenix, the products weren't important to me in as far as long as they were safe, obviously, as long as they were desirable and the price point was correct. Well, really, they were the important things to me. But obviously, when it comes to food, when it comes to something that you're going to ingest into within yourself, it suddenly becomes a very different story. So I was lucky enough to fly out to Phoenix, Arizona, to the world headquarters several months ago now, which Raven and I got to know each other over maybe a few sparkling waters. or similar whilst we were out there and ever since, which has been a lot of fun. But not only did it tick the boxes in terms of obviously the price point, because at the end of the day, we're going to spend money on food. The choice, therefore, is not whether we're going to spend the money, but where or with whom we're going to spend the money, which becomes about each individual and the influence and sway that they perhaps have over the people that they not only already mix with, but become to mix with moving forward too. Not only that, the quality was absolutely second to none. Every single order, albeit very few, less than 1%, I believe. In fact, way less than 1% of products are returned. But nonetheless, each of the products that are returned are destroyed instantly. Even if the box hasn't been opened, none of the products have been tampered with. They want to assure the quality so much so that any of it is, sent straight to the incinerator or disposed of in some other environmental way, no doubt. And then finally, the desirability of the product was the third factor that I had considered, not only previously, but also when I'm reviewing this opportunity for myself several months ago. Again, it's food. We're going to consume that anyway. It's just a simple choice of educating people, providing them with enough information that they can make their own informed choice, never about persuasion, only about information, and then leaving them to make that choice. And the really joyous thing is that very many people have decided to get involved already. In fact, worldwide, there are more than 500,000 customers already trying, loving, and sharing the Isagenix products with their friends and family, if, when, and how they choose, which is great news. And then even just in the last few short weeks, more than 2,000, probably knocking on actually for more like 3,000 people, have already made that decision to get started, whether that be as a customer or indeed as an associate or someone who's interested in the income generation opportunity that can be derived too. But what I've also had to factor in addition to the fact that obviously by ingesting the products, it becomes an even more important factor, is also the fact that there are two key ingredients for business success. So I've had 5 businesses in total. I've earned six-figure incomes on more than one occasion now. And so have experienced a modicum of business success. Again, not as much as some, but perhaps more than others. And one of the factors I needed to consider when looking further into it, once I tick those initial 3 boxes, is this product ahead of the curve? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for working hard where and if necessary. Obviously, I don't want to work hard for no result or no reward. But where that's available, then I'm not shy of a hard day's work. In fact, I'm not shy of a few years' hard work if that's what's necessary. However, there's no need actually, I'm sure you'll agree, to make things any harder than they necessarily need to be. So why not get ahead of the curve so that you can enjoy that crest, that wave that is coming on anyway, as well as working hard? And that's exactly the place that we find ourselves in, not only globally, but right here in the UK. So as Raven's already explained about Britain being the 3rd most obese nation, not only that, we can share with friends and family in any connections we've got in any of the 12 other open markets. So a really great opportunity in terms of the open marketplace. And not only that, increasingly, nutrition, organic, vegan, these are all words, welfare, natural, these are all buzzwords that are being used more and more on products, on whether they actually possess those qualities or properties or not. Now, what's really great for me, and I found very reassuring, is that the quality standards are exceptional. With Isagenix, they have more than 40 full-time lab technicians and scientists, guys and girls in white coats and lovely hairnets in the head office building every single day, not only developing new products for us to try, love and share with their friends and family, as well as for ourselves, but also to refine the existing products further still and to continually test the existing product line. So what that means is that they're testing the soil at the location that the fruits, vegetables and other ingredients are grown at. They're testing it as it comes in as a fully formed object once it comes into the laboratory, and then they're testing it during the manufacturing process, and as well as, of course, testing at the final point before it leaves to go out to the customer's door. So a very thorough process right the way through. And then the secondary thing is that, is it a consumable product? So the thing is that there are some products out there, just to pick a random example, is like homeware, so like mops and buckets, things like that. And yes, they have a certain consumability. The handle will snap, the head will run out, the bucket might get a hole in, whatever it is. But nonetheless, that's not something that's being replenished on a very regular basis. There are other products such as, I don't know, for example, cosmetics and skincare. But the thing is that they are not essential items. So when times are tough, if someone loses the job, or if they have a cutback in pay, or they change of circumstance, or move somewhere more expensive, perhaps incur a certain amount of debt through holidays or something joyful, or perhaps something not quite as exciting as that, maybe having to buy a new washing machine or whatever it might be. Well, that's the first thing that gets cut on the head, isn't it? Gets knocked on the head or cut off. Whereas, obviously, with food, it's an essential item. It's something that everyone is going to purchase every day of their life. And so, again, just to say it one more time, it's not a case of whether they'll spend the money, not at all. It's simply a fact of with whom or where will they spend the money, which is where we can come in, is by providing that information, by sharing our great benefit of the products, how we felt from consuming them, the difference they've made to us. And just to touch on my story just a little bit, then I've made some pretty shocking choices as I've got along, I have to say. And, you know, as it goes, when you have more time to yourself, just like Raven was saying before, retiring off to Spain with visions of tapas and red wine by the pool and all that is all very lovely. But overindulging in those things only leads to one result, which is that you become unhealthy. You can certainly increase your weight, which not only is an aesthetic thing for many people, myself included, but also is a health problem as well, because the extra weight is not only the weight that you're carrying around the extremities or the outside, you know, areas of the body in terms of your physical appearance, it's the internal core as well. So it's about the fat, the visceral fat cells that are being stored around the essential organs that perform the functions of the body and enable us to do everything from get up in the morning to go to bed at night and pretty much everything else in between, all of which becomes sluggish. So with cholesterol and anti-cholesterol products, with all these different things that are out there now, some of which help and perhaps some of which may even hinder in the longer run, then does it not make sense then, of course, that it's the obvious solution is to have complete and whole and proper nutrition? And that's exactly what we find here. And not only that, an exact and precise price point that makes it very affordable for most. Not certainly for everyone necessarily, but certainly for a sufficiently large percentage of the population that it become appealing. And not only that, what I found very encouraging when on my little exploratory visit over to Arizona and since then too, is that more than 80% of the people that choose to become involved with Isagenix do so and maintain and stay as a customer, which is really very encouraging, not only because it shows it's a testament to the quality, to the results, to the affordability of the product, but also because for someone such as myself who was approaching it not only as a consumer of the products, but also someone interested in generating an income stream from the sharing of those products, because once the customers come in, then they tend to stay, which the secondary benefit, as well as being wonderful for them, is that it provides a very steady residual or secondary or passive income for anyone that chooses to get involved. So I don't want to get bogged down into the specifics and the exact figures and start drawing out crazy shapes and all that kind of thing, because it all becomes pretty dry and tedious pretty quickly. That's something you can certainly go through with the person that referred you in here tonight, and they can have the pleasure of going through that information with you, should you wish. But what I will do is touch on just exactly what's available. So, For example, as I've said, I left behind a 6-figure income in my previous business, walked away from that to start again with Isagenix. It's such a belief and such a passion, not only in the product, but also the wonderful ownership and direction that's provided by the corporate staff, and even more so with the incredible leadership that were requesting me to become part of it, which I'll cover more in just a moment's time. But just sticking with the money for a moment, then it's a really simple building block process. Now, the company have a motto, which I've already actually mentioned a couple of times this evening already, which is that you try the products, you become to love the products, and then you share the products. And it really is as simple as that. And as Raven's already said, I'm experiencing the thing on online. I'm experiencing it in real life. People noticing in just 11 days when I started to consume the products, having took delivery of them, and very excited I was too, in those 10 days I've dropped a significant amount of weight. I've tightened my the notch, an extra notch on the waist belt of my jeans, on my belt. And not only that, my skin's clearing up. I had suffered with eczema. I had problems with joint pain in my toes, which is all easing and abating now. And not only that, have increased levels of energy and stamina, attention, but not only that, more restful at night. So a really amazing solution. This is the second time I've had the pleasure of experiencing that, having brought a little supply of products back with me from Phoenix, Arizona originally. So what we very simply have here is a left and a right team. So there's none of this where perhaps you've seen in other opportunities or other companies where you have to be building 4 and 5 and 6, 7, maybe even more independent separate businesses and balancing those out and tearing yourself in multiple pieces to try and do that and support all the people. It's very simply a left and a right team. So let's imagine that you were to choose to get started, and maybe as a preferred customer, every bit as valued and every bit as treasured as anyone else, an associate or otherwise. And you get started and you order your products, whatever pack it might be. Again, specifics around that can be passed to you by the person that introduced you or invited you, should I say, here tonight. And you get started on that pack of products, and then you start to consume them. You start to feel great, just like so many hundreds of thousands of other people around the world have done so already. And then you decide that you'd like to share it with other people. Well, you then at that point have 2 options should you wish. So the one is to maintain your preferred customer status, whereby you're receiving a constant all year round discount on every product order that you're placing. You have your own website where you can go on, you can increase, decrease, change, swap, exchange, whatever it is. There's a dedicated customer service portal for you built right in as a customer, all for every person that gets started. It's very wonderful stuff. But then you decide that perhaps your mother or your auntie or your partner or maybe one of your more grown children or maybe a work colleague or a friend or someone that you share drinks with over the weekend or someone you catch up with very occasionally, but nonetheless, someone springs to mind. That you know that you're feeling great from the products and you decide that you want them to benefit from it too. So even as a customer, you can still benefit from that. Not necessarily that you're doing it for that purpose, but nonetheless, you're going to do it anyway. The company wants to thank you for doing that, for introducing a new customer, and as such will pay you a product credit reward for that. So say if you were to get started, let's say on a 30-day system, a fairly typical amount of product, it's obviously 30 days worth of product, everything that you need to look, feel great, enhance your life, more energy, and not only that, release those pounds too. And then let's say you were to introduce another friend that was to do that was to follow suit and do the same. Well, that would be a £20 product credit on your account. Well, that's wonderful. So you introduce 2, 3, 4, 5, however many different people as you're going along. They might introduce a few of their friends and they start to earn rewards too. And everyone's feeling great from consuming the products. And as the bonus of having their future orders discounted, or even you can buy additional ones and sell them on your wish, and to stop you doing that at all. However, there's an additional layer for those people, such as myself, such as Raven, such as a few other people on this call as well this evening, especially the person that has introduced you quite possibly, or invited you, should I say, to this call this evening. And that is to take part as an associate. So it's just a title change. There's no extra cost to doing that. There's no extra commitment. There's no requirements, no targets, no milestones, no deadlines. There's nothing. You don't suddenly, turn into this sales machine that has to be out there frantically doing everything at all. Now, the only proviso to that, of course, is that the more that you do, the more you will earn. It's very simple. Just like everything in life, if you work more hours at work, you get more money. If you work harder at this, then inevitably you're going to end up earning more money. That's a simple rule right across the board, isn't it? But rather than receiving product credit for those that you introduce, you will receive what's generally termed a cycle bonus or a royalty type income. And what that means is that not only is it the people that you introduce that you will earn that kind of bonus with, but also the people they go on to introduce, and they go on to introduce, and they go on to introduce, and they go on to introduce. And the thing is that quite readily and over a period of time, depending on how much time you're putting into it, how seriously you're taking it, etc., any of which way is fine, but the more that you put into it, the more quickly you're going to see a return, the more quickly your products will be paid for, so you will literally eat for free. Fantastic. But not only that, earn additional income so that you can then spend that on whatever you want, whether it's paying off your credit card a bit early, an extra holiday, some special treat for the kids, for yourself, a new wardrobe, a new outfit, even replacing your existing primary income over a period of time, should you show the relevant time, commitment, and effort. And even beyond that. Now, one of the things that I looked at, in fact, this is twofold, but it's one point, is that one of the common questions that are asked of network marketing companies or direct sales opportunities, whatever you might like to call them, is, well, how many people have become rich? Because that's what everyone's interested in, right? Of course. Well, the answer to that in terms of Isagenix millionaires, so what that means is someone who cumulatively over a period of time, normally sometime between 2 and 5 years, it's been done quicker, it's been done longer, but 2 and 5 years is fairly typical, earned a total combined income over that period of time of $1 million plus, is now more than 212 worldwide, way more than any other business opportunity I've heard of before. Not only that, the number of people earning serious 5- and 6-figure incomes is in the many, many thousands across the world. Now, don't get me wrong, and please don't take this lightly. I'm not saying join up, buy a pack, share with a couple of friends, you're going to make $1 million. I don't want to mislead you whatsoever. But nonetheless, with a continued and applied effort over a period of time, the results are achievable. And I can say that with certainty because Raven, for example, he's already said about how he's been involved in the healthcare industry, how he ran the cancer care clinics and all that. A very honourable and notable achievement, not to say the least. However, what has he done in addition to that is build many sustainable companies, several in fact, over a 30-year career that not only have paid him substantial income into 7 figures up until now, but continue to do so even today. So this guy really is involved for the love and passion, not only of the product, but also because he's a caring and sharing kind of guy. In addition to that, then I grew my last opportunity, albeit with a different product and a different company, but nonetheless across 8 different countries over a relatively short amount of time, just 2.5, knocking on now 3 years, to more than 28,000 people within my organization. Now, can you imagine, even if you're earning just 10p as a reward for the support, the training, the guidance, and for helping to introduce those people to the company. Now, obviously, I did not, by any stretch of the imagination, invite or coach or introduce even a fraction of those people. So the power of duplication, the leverage, is a really exceptional model that is generally and genuinely not widely available, because especially when you're splitting it across 4, 5, 6 or even more different legs of a business, whereas here we are simply starting with 2 friends, helping them introduce 2 friends, helping those introduce 2 friends, and on and on and on we go. We have such a simple set of systems to enable and empower you to do that for yourself, and whilst you will definitely be in business for yourself, you never fear about being in business by yourself. And what I mean by that is that there's myself, there's the person that invited you along to this call tonight, there's Raven, there's many other really fantastic leaders right here within the Platinum Exec Group, specifically within the Isagenix opportunity, with decades of experience, practiced, learned, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and not only are willing but ready, able and excited to show you how you can do that yourself. So if there's guys and girls out there, out in Australia, in America, Canada, various other countries besides, already generating 7-figure incomes, what's to stop you starting on the journey and earning an extra 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 pounds a month? Absolutely nothing, when they're earning quite literally 100 times that. And if you want to earn 2, 3, 4, 5,000 pounds, well, we've all done that in the past, and we're on our way to doing that again with Isagenix, and we would love for you to come with us. So as we're doing it, we'll pass on exactly what it is that we're doing to do that, so that you can then do it in your circle of influence amongst your group of friends or new set of contacts that you wish to develop, and replicate the success that we're already having. Literally, the only difference is you will be a few weeks behind, because we got started on the 15th of May when the company launched, but a few weeks in years' time is not going to make any difference. But what it does mean is that we'll always be a few weeks or a few months in advance of where you're at, which means we'll always have something new to share with you. So it's a really simple, but yet very effective and highly lucrative, potentially, solution. It's certainly a lot of fun. So we have regular training sessions, we have Zoom calls such as this, but for training purposes. We have Facebook groups, we have chats, we meet up in person. So Raven mentioned before the grand opening that's happening on the 24th, 5th of June. It's not too late to get involved in that, either as a customer to go and check it all out and see what it's all about, or even as an associate too. There are many other events that are going to be running throughout the summer. We're all going off to, not that it's a requirement, but it's there nonetheless, off to Las Vegas to see a really great motivational speaker do a talk, Tony Robbins, to learn from people that have already been there, done that, and got the t-shirt, you know, for many years, and to have a good time and get together socially as well, maybe even enjoy a spin on the roulette table whilst we're at it. In addition to that, Raven and I and other leaders besides, we run meetings not only in our local areas, in our own backyard, if you will, but also right across the UK. So Raven and I already have been right around the UK doing cartwheels, as we say, at more than 8 venues, which vary depending on demand and where people want it, basically. Where we run real and physical events where you have an opportunity to come along, to get questions answered, to take part, to be unified, to see how, you know, that we're all in there and we're all doing it together, we're all sharing information and advice. Come along a little bit early, have a one-to-one session should you wish, turn up for the main event, that's fine. Stay on afterwards, that's fine too. So there's an abundance of opportunity to learn, to grow, to develop. And I mean that both in terms of your business skills and also in terms of personally too. So one of the journeys that we're all on, as well as a health transformation, is also a personal or mental or psychological transformation too. So we're all perfect versions of ourselves, and I wouldn't ever wish to say anything different. We all have unique skills and talents and attributes and characteristics that we bring to the table, and that's wonderful, but we can all be that little bit better. And I have obviously included myself in that every ounce as much as I do anyone else, of course. But should we be the same person in 6 months or 6 years or, you know, whatever amount of time in the future? Well, that would be very sad and disappointing. Think about the you of 6 months ago or 6 years ago. You weren't the same now as you were then. Well, it's the same moving forward. And all we do is turn that into a coachable skill that we share with you, perhaps based on reading or trainings, etc., that we've been involved in. So it really is a very full-featured and all-encompassing training program. There's no requirement to turn up every single night. There's no requirement to come to the meetings. There's no one's going to be sort of beating down your door and dragging you out on a Saturday afternoon or a Wednesday evening or whatever it might be. But should you wish to come along, you're very very welcome to do so, and many do that already. Events are always very well attended. There's lots of very excited people there. There's generally an equal number of people that have got started already and perhaps had the opportunity to meet before, as well as brand new people. So whichever you are, whether you're old hat and have met one or two people through other circles before, or whether you're brand new and maybe even want to come on your own, well, that's absolutely fine. Just let one of us know. We'll be sure to welcome you, and off we'll go together, and that'll be very jolly indeed. So that just covers a few of the basic details of the income generation, the business side of it. Should you wish to commence to order a pack of products to start on your health transformation, and that's the limit of your commitment so far, absolutely fine. That would be exceptional news. You'll be truly valued and welcome on board. You'll be supported on your health transformation. You can receive those product credits, and that would be wonderful. If, however, you should wish to commence as an associate or convert to that at any time, like I say, no additional expense commitment, etc., just purely a decision to earn money rather than product credit, then of course you can do that as well. In addition to being welcomed and valued and all the rest of it, just the same as you would as a customer. But in addition to that, in addition to the support you would get for your health transformation, you would also get additional support for your wealth transformation. So there's additional training, there's additional events, there's additional all the different things that I've talked about already that are readily available there for you to pluck from the shelf as and when it suits and as and when the progression for you is required. So I hope that sums it up for you. I know that Raven and I are very keen and eager, as always, to answer any questions that